A new world. As the sleek interstellar shuttle descended through the lavender clouds of planet Zephyria, Zoe Adams pressed her nose to the window, eager for her first glimpse of the world that would be her home for the next year. At 16, Zoe was making history as the first human student ever to attend the prestigious Galactic Academy. The shuttle glided to a stop on a landing pad that seemed to be made of gleaming silver filigree. Zoe disembarked, blinking in the opalescent light of the twin moons overhead. Waiting for her was a tall, willowy figure with luminous teal skin and large, almond-shaped eyes that swirled with curiosity. Her Zephyrian guide, Kix. "Welcome, Zoe Adams of Earth," Kix said, dipping his head in a graceful nod. "It is my honor to escort you to the academy." As they walked, Kix explained more about the school, how it attracted the brightest minds from a dozen star systems, how its alumni went on to be leaders and innovators across the galaxy. Zoe couldn't help but notice the curious stares from the other alien students they passed. She was used to feeling different, but here, she was utterly unique. "You are the first of your kind to walk these halls," Kix said, as if reading her thoughts. "Humans are something of a mystery to us. Your world is known to be a place of great challenges. A death world." Zoe considered that. It was true that Earth had its share of dangers, from natural disasters to wars and diseases. But it was also a world of breathtaking beauty, of art and innovation and tenacity. She hoped she could share that side of her home with her new peers. They arrived at Zoe's living quarters, a crystalline pod that hovered gently a few inches off the ground. Inside, the room adjusted instantly to Zoe's biosignature, the walls taking on a soothing green hue and the air temperature settling to a perfect 72 degrees Fahrenheit. She couldn't help but grin. This place was like something out of her wildest sci-fi dreams. As Kix bid her good night, Zoe felt a flutter of nerves in her stomach. Tomorrow would be her first day of classes, her first real chance to make an impression. She thought back to the intensive training she'd undergone back on Earth, the hours spent studying alien cultures and practicing first contact scenarios. She was as ready as she could be. With a deep breath, Zoe settled into the plush, zero-gravity bed. She had a feeling her life was about to change in ways she could barely imagine. In this new world, she wasn't just Zoe Adams, the shy girl from Indiana. She was Zoe Adams, ambassador of humanity. She closed her eyes, a smile on her lips, ready to meet the stars. Defying expectations. Zoe took a deep breath as she stepped into her first class at the Galactic Academy. Advanced Engineering. The room was a marvel of alien technology, with holographic blueprints floating in midair and tools that seemed to defy the laws of physics. As the only human in a sea of alien faces, Zoe felt the weight of dozens of curious stares. Professor Xylov, a hulking insectoid Krell with a voice like rumbling thunder, called the class to attention. "Today," he announced, "we will be working on repairing a malfunctioning anti-gravity drive. You will work in pairs." Zoe found herself partnered with a spindly crystalline being named Ixel. As they began to examine the drive, Zoe noticed a small, pulsing component that seemed out of sync with the rest. Without thinking, she reached out and made a small adjustment. The drive whirred to life, hovering perfectly. Ixel's crystalline structure shimmered with surprise. "How did you know to do that?" Zoe shrugged, a smile tugging at her lips. "Just a hunch." Word of the human's intuitive engineering skills spread quickly. In her quantum mechanics class, Zoe's probing questions sparked a lively debate that left even the professor, a telepathic Zephyrian, looking impressed. In her xenobiology lab, she astounded her classmates by quickly identifying the weak spot of a notoriously hard-to-dissect specimen. By lunchtime, the cafeteria was abuzz with rumors about the extraordinary human student. Some whispered that Earth must be a planet of geniuses to produce someone like Zoe. Others speculated that humans had secret technology that gave them an edge. A few even wondered if Zoe was some kind of prodigy among her own kind. Kix greeted Zoe with a wide smile as she sat down at his table. "You're the talk of the school," he said. "Everyone's amazed by you." Zoe felt a blush rise to her cheeks. "I'm not doing anything special," she said. I love learning. And I've always been good at seeing patterns, making connections. Don't underestimate yourself," Kix said. "What comes naturally to you is astonishing to many of us. Humans are an enigma, Zoe. Your resilience, your adaptability. It's unlike anything most of us have encountered." But not everyone was thrilled about Zoe's success. From a shadowy corner of the cafeteria, a group of students eyed her with suspicion. "We can't trust it," hissed a scaly, reptilian saurian. "No Deathworlder should be that clever. It's up to something." As Zoe navigated her afternoon classes, she could feel the undercurrent of tension. For every odd look or friendly greeting, there was a cold shoulder or a distrustful glare. She realized that in defying their expectations, she had also challenged their preconceptions. Some embraced that challenge with excitement, but others feared it. That night, as Zoe lay in her pod, her mind raced with the events of the day. She knew she was walking a delicate line. Her very presence here was a statement, a testament to human capability. But she didn't want to be seen as a threat or a freak. She just wanted to learn, to grow, to forge connections across the stars. She thought of her family back on Earth, how proud they'd been when she was chosen for this program. She thought of the little girl she'd once been, dreaming of the stars. She couldn't let fear or prejudice dim that dream, not when she'd come so far. With a renewed sense of determination, Zoe closed her eyes. Tomorrow was a new day, a new chance to build bridges. In this galaxy of wonders, she knew she had so much more to discover. About this alien world, and about herself. An unlikely friendship. As the weeks flew by, Zoe found herself settling into a rhythm at the Galactic Academy. Her classes were challenging and exhilarating, each day bringing new wonders to uncover. But navigating the social landscape was proving to be just as much of an adventure. Kix had become her constant companion, her guide not just to the school's labyrinthine halls, but to the intricate web of alien social norms. He taught her the proper way to greet a Krell, bow low, palms forward, how to interpret a Zephyrian's color-shifting aura, blue for calm, red for excitement, and which cafeteria dishes were safe for human consumption. The purple goo was a no-go. In return, Zoe found ways to help Kix. When he struggled in their galactic history class, overwhelmed by the sheer volume of dates and dynasties to memorize, Zoe shared her favorite study techniques. Together, they created silly mnemonics and catchy tunes to help the facts stick. As they quizzed each other in Zoe's pod one evening, Kix shook his head in wonder. "I've never met anyone who thinks quite like you do," he said. "The way you see the universe, it's incredible." Zoe grinned. "Humans have a saying back on Earth, 2 heads are better than 1. I guess in this case, it's more like 2 heads from 2 totally different evolutionary paths are better than 1. Kix's laughter filled the room, a melodic sound that seemed to make the very air sparkle. "I like that," he said. "Humans are wiser than many here give you credit for." As their friendship grew, Zoe and Kix found themselves seeking out new adventures together. They explored the Academy's vast virtual reality libraries, marveling at simulations of long-lost worlds. They snuck into the kitchens to attempt to cook each other's favorite dishes, leading to some memorably disastrous culinary experiments. And when their xenobiology class took a field trip to the nearby crystal caves, Zoe and Kix found themselves marveling at the beauty of their alien surroundings side by side. The caves were a kaleidoscope of color, with towering formations of bioluminescent crystals that pulsed and shimmered in hypnotic patterns, rising to the challenge. As the semester progressed, excitement began to build around the Academy's annual decathlon competition. The event was a grueling test of both mental and physical prowess, with challenges ranging from complex mathematical proofs to high-stakes hovercraft races. Kix had been training for months, but he still had doubts about his chances. "The competition is fierce," he confided to Zoe one afternoon. especially in the physical events. Zephyrians aren't exactly known for our brawn. Zoe's eyes sparkled with an idea. "Why don't we team up?" she suggested. "I bet we could cover each other's weaknesses." Kix's face lit up. "You'd do that?" he asked. "Humans have never competed before. People might not like it." Zoe shrugged. "All the more reason to do it," she said with a grin. "Let's show them what human Zephyrian teamwork can do." They signed up the next day, much to the surprise and consternation of many of their classmates. Whispers followed them down the halls, some excited, some skeptical, some outright hostile. "The human won't last 5 minutes in the athletic rounds," Zoe overheard a burly Krell named Raxon scoff. "Their kind are too soft, too fragile." Zoe just smiled, a fire kindling in her belly. She'd faced doubters before, those who underestimated humanity's strength. She couldn't wait to prove them wrong. As the decathlon approached, Zoe and Kix trained harder than ever. They pored over textbooks late into the night, drilling each other on everything from quantum entanglement to the history of the Galactic Confederacy. In the Academy's state-of-the-art gym, they pushed their bodies to new limits, Zoe's natural human stamina, and Kix's Zephyrian agility, making them a formidable pair. On the day of the competition, the atmosphere was electric. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy had gathered to watch the Academy's brightest compete. In the stands, Zoe spotted a small but vocal contingent of humans, diplomats, scientists, and even a few eager reporters who had jumped at the chance to cover the historic event. The academic rounds flew by in a blur of flashing holoscreens and rapid-fire answers. Zoe and Kix held their own, their combined knowledge propelling them into the top tier of teams. But it was in the physical challenges that they truly shone. In the zero-gravity obstacle course, Zoe's quick reflexes and powerful legs had her sailing through the course with ease, leaving even the most agile Zephyrians in the dust. In the hovercraft race, Kix's keen eye and steady hand at the controls helped them edge out their competitors by a hair's breadth. But it was in the final event, the dreaded mind maze, that their teamwork was put to the ultimate test. The goal was simple: navigate a labyrinth filled with mental and physical traps to retrieve a hidden artifact. The catch: the labyrinth was generated psychically by a panel of Zephyrian elders and could shift and change at any moment based on the contestants' actions. Zoe and Kix entered the maze hand in hand, their minds linked by a temporary telepathic bond. Together, they faced down illusions, solved riddles, and leaped over sudden chasms that yawned open beneath their feet. With each challenge, their connection grew stronger, their trust in each other unwavering. In the final stretch, they faced a towering wall of pure psychic energy, crackling and sizzling with malevolent intent. Kix faltered, his mental shield straining under the onslaught. But Zoe was there, her human resilience a beacon in the chaos. She poured her strength into their bond, and together, they pushed through the barrier and grasped the artifact. The roar of the crowd was deafening as they emerged victorious, the first human Zephyrian team to win the decathlon in the Academy's history. In that moment, as she stood hand in hand with Kix, basking in the glow of their achievement, Zoe felt a sense of belonging wash over her. Here, light years from the world she'd known, she'd found a home in the stars, confronting prejudice. But not everyone shared in the joy of Zoe and Kix's victory. In the days following the decathlon, a sinister undercurrent of discontent began to swirl through the Academy's halls. It started with small things: whispered comments in the cafeteria, snide remarks scrawled on classroom whiteboards. But it quickly escalated. Zoe found herself shoved in the hallways, her belongings mysteriously vandalized. Rumors began to spread, vicious and unfounded, that humans were plotting to take over the Academy, that they were secretly spies for some nefarious earthly agenda. At the center of it all was Professor Xyloff. The insectoid engineering instructor had never quite warmed to Zoe, and now he seemed to have made it his mission to turn the school against her. In his classes, he made thinly veiled jabs about the dangers of allowing Deathworlders into hallowed galactic institutions. He even published an inflammatory op-ed in the school newsfeed, arguing that humans were too volatile, too unpredictable to be trusted. Zoe tried to ignore the growing hostility, throwing herself into her studies with a determined fervor, but even she couldn't pretend it wasn't affecting her. She found herself looking over her shoulder in the halls, jumping at sudden noises. Her sleep was plagued by nightmares, visions of being chased, trapped, abandoned in the cold vacuum of space. It all came to a head one morning when Zoe arrived at her pod to find it spray-painted with a single chilling word: Leave. Something inside her snapped. She couldn't take it anymore. The fear, the isolation, the constant feeling of being unwelcome in her own school. With tears stinging her eyes, she began to pack her bags. Maybe they were right. Maybe she didn't belong here after all. But as she was about to leave, a knock came at her door. It was Kix, his face etched with concern. "Zoe," he said softly, "don't go. We need you here." Behind him, Zoe was shocked to see a small crowd gathered. Not just her closest alien friends, but faces she barely recognized. There was Ixel from her engineering class, and the Krell twins from quantum mechanics. There was even Raxon, the burly Krell who had once doubted her abilities. "We're here for you, Zoe," Ixel said, her crystalline structure pulsing with sincerity. "What's happening to you? It's not right. It's not what this academy stands for." Raxon nodded, his scaly face uncharacteristically solemn. "I was wrong about you, human," he rumbled. "You've proven yourself a true member of this community. We won't let a few narrow-minded individuals drive you away." Zoe felt her heart swell with emotion. These beings, so different from her in so many ways, had become her family. She couldn't abandon them, not when they were fighting for her. Together, they marched to the Academy's Central Hall, where Professor Xyloth was holding an inflammatory assembly, once again calling for Zoe's removal. As he spoke, painting a picture of humans as dangerous, unstable, a threat to the galactic order, Zoe's friends watched in growing outrage. And then, one by one, they began to stand. Kix was first, his voice ringing out clear and strong. "Zoe Adams is not a threat," he declared. "She is a brilliant, compassionate, courageous individual who has enriched all of our lives. She represents the best of what humanity has to offer." Others joined in, sharing stories of how Zoe had helped them, inspired them, shown them new ways of thinking. The tide began to turn, the assembly transforming from a platform for fear into a celebration of unity. And then Zoe herself took the stage. Looking out at the sea of alien faces, she felt a sense of calm wash over her. This was her moment. This was what she had come here to do. "I am human," she said, her voice steady, "and I am proud of that. But I am also a student of this academy, just like each and every one of you. My species does not define me. What defines me are my actions, my heart, my mind. And what defines us as a community is our willingness to learn from each other, to grow together, to face the unknown with open hearts and curious minds." As the assembly ended, Zoe was surrounded by a flood of apologies, of pledges of support, of tearful hugs, and as she looked around at the vibrant tapestry of alien life that surrounded her, she knew that this spirit of unity, of understanding, was the true power of the stars. A new era. The vote was unanimous. In a historic decision, the Galactic Academy formally extended its welcome to human students, paving the way for a new era of interstellar cooperation. For Zoe, it was a bittersweet victory. She had achieved what she set out to do, broken down barriers, and forged new bonds between worlds. But she knew her journey was far from over. As the first human to walk these halls, she carried the weight of her species on her shoulders. Every action, every word would be scrutinized, analyzed, judged. She found solace in her friends, in the unbreakable bonds she had forged over the course of her tumultuous year. Kix was a constant source of support, his faith in her unwavering. Together, they dreamed of a future where the sight of humans and Zephyrians working side by side was not a novelty, but the norm. Inspired by Zoe's example, the Academy instituted a formal exchange program, inviting top students from Earth to study alongside their galactic peers. Zoe watched with pride as the first cohort arrived, their eyes wide with wonder and anticipation. She saw in them reflections of herself, dreamers, adventurers, pioneers of a new cosmic age. As her own time at the Academy drew to a close, Zoe found herself reflecting on the incredible journey she had undertaken. She thought back to that first day, the nervousness and excitement that had churned in her stomach as she stepped into this alien world. She thought of the challenges she had faced, the prejudices she had overcome, the friendships she had forged in the crucible of the unknown. She realized that her story was not just her own, but a part of a greater tapestry, the ongoing saga of humanity's reach for the stars. Every astronaut, every explorer, every scientist who had ever dared to dream of life beyond Earth's horizon had laid the groundwork for her journey. And now it was her turn to carry the torch forward. At her graduation ceremony, Zoe stood before a sea of proud faces, human and alien alike. In the front row, her family beamed with joy, their hearts bursting with pride at the sight of their daughter, the trailblazer, the star seeker. As she took the podium to deliver her valedictorian address, Zoe's eyes shone with the light of 1,000 suns. "Today," she said, her voice ringing out across the auditorium, "we stand on the threshold of a new era. An era of cooperation, of exploration, of unity across the stars. We have shown that the boundaries that divide us, of species, of culture, of world, are but illusions. That in the grand tapestry of the cosmos, we are all threads woven together, all children of the same stellar dust." She paused, her gaze sweeping over the crowd, taking in the kaleidoscope of alien faces that had become so dear to her. "My journey here has taught me many things," she continued, her voice softening. "But perhaps the most important lesson is this, that when we open our hearts to the unknown, when we dare to dream beyond the confines of our own small worlds, there is no limit to what we can achieve. Together." As the applause washed over her, Zoe felt a sense of peace settle in her heart. She knew that her journey was just beginning, that there were countless more worlds to explore, countless more minds to meet and exchange with. But she also knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with the strength and wisdom she had gained here, in this place where the stars had become her home. And as she stepped off the stage and into the embrace of her loved ones, both human and alien, Zoe knew one thing for certain. The future was bright, and it belonged to all of them, together, in the light of 1 billion stars. The end.